surging this morning as investors react to Donald Trump winning a second presidential term. We want to bring in Douglas Holtz-Eakin. He served as director of the Congressional Budget Office from 2003 until 2005, and he is the current president of the American Action Forum, a conservative think tank. Douglas, it's great to have you here on Yahoo Finance with us. So I think when you take a look at the market's reaction this morning, very much they are viewing Trump's policies as pro-economic growth. I'm curious, how do you see this playing out under a second Trump term?
Well, certainly the most striking difference between the Biden administration and what probably would have been the Harris administration and Mr. Trump is in the regulatory area. The Biden administration has imposed $1.7 trillion of costs on the private sector in not yet 4 years. That's double what Obama did in 8 years. During his 4 years as president, Donald Trump imposed $40 billion of regulatory costs. So it's just night and day different on the regulatory front. There's no reason to believe that'll be any different the next time around. I think that was a key part of the surge that we saw in 2017. The small business sector optimism went up dramatically. I think you're seeing that again today. And then, we know the other pieces, the unambiguous good news of extending the tax cuts, perhaps getting lower corporate rate as well. And then the question of what happens on the tariff front, which is a headwind to growth, and people try to sort out how big an impact that's going to have.
Well, how do you sort it out, Doug? I mean, I guess it's too soon to tell because we don't know what he's actually going to impose. There's been some talk, well, maybe it's just going to be a negotiating chip. It wasn't that the first time. So how do you then, as an economist, try to sort of weigh those different elements?
Well, I think the first step is to try to understand who controls the House, which is still up in the air as we speak and is central to how this goes forward. If the Republicans control the House, there is the chance for them to use so-called reconciliation, these fast-track procedures that only require 50 votes in the Senate, to pass legislation. And that legislation, if it doesn't create long-term deficits, can be permanent. Unlike 2017, where everything had to sunset because it had a deficit impact, if they can make it deficit neutral, they can make it permanent. Many Republicans would be attracted to the idea that, hey, we can use the $3 to $4.5 trillion of tariff revenue to offset these other tax cuts and maybe get this to deficit neutral. They might not like the tariffs in and of themselves, but it's a way to get there for their other objectives. If they don't control the House, that's off the table, and it's up to the executive branch and just how aggressive Mr. Trump is going to be. My reading of the situation is he's talked a lot about a lot of things. The ones that come first in his mind, the ones he mentions first, talks about the most, are on the immigration deportation front. Certainly the immigration border crossings will be tightened down even further. There will be attempts to change the legal immigration system to minimize immigration to the U.S. Deportation is a wild card. He promised to deport 11 million people in the 2016 race. That never transpired. We did some work back then that said it would cost $400 or $500 billion, take about 20 years. None of that played out at all. So I've got an eye on that as well.
Douglas, what about the impact that specifically is going to have on the labor market when you talk about wages, when you talk about employment numbers, and that actually turning into a challenge here for a Trump administration?
I think that's a real risk that they run. The labor market has finally cooled somewhat, but the unemployment rate is 4.1%. And this is not an economy that is overflowing with excess labor. And to cut back on the source of not just low-skilled labor, we're now seeing immigration at all skill levels, and those skills are needed in the labor force. So to cut that off and minimize it, I think is a risk that I certainly wouldn't take as a policymaker, one they're going to have to consider pretty carefully. And I'll just echo what Rick Newman said about, the Fed now has to game this out as well. What do you think about tighter labor markets? Is that a possibility? How much inflation pressure comes from the tariffs? How quickly does that happen? What does that do to their plans to move monetary policy more toward neutral? Are they stuck now with a more restrictive policy? That's a headwind to growth as well.
Doug, thank you so much for taking some time with us this morning. Appreciate it.
So there you go. Yeah, man. Y'all look at the stock market, man. It's hot right now. I don't know, since the person got elected, it just turned money like that, especially in the stock market and crypto market like that. But hey, man, I'm glad I got some things that's in the stock market, and I definitely got some crypto. My crypto account looking really good right now. But go ahead, Ron. I mean, go ahead, Akeem. Man, what's your take about how stocks and crypto is going up because of the person who's been elected?
So, for a lot of us don't know, Trump has been very optimistic about crypto. He said that way before. We already know Trump is good for business. It doesn't surprise me stocks is going up. They're talking about taking a risk on a business plan. They're traditional politician, not businessmen. They don't do business. So seeing this, we need a reset. We need a labor reset. It's a bunch of people here who can gladly work that need jobs. So when I see this, pay what people are worth. If you got to raise the price on things, so be it. If there's livable wage, this so be it. We need to be competitive when it comes to the quality of life here in America, to be able to go to work, and we might have to tweak some things. You know what I mean? Because when we're talking about Europe, Spain, and all these other places in Germany, they're getting something right. We're the greatest country in the world, but we got people on Skid Row. Tell me, does that make sense?
Yeah, but right now I'm looking at right now the Bitcoin, the is up by nine. It's up by 9%. That's really good
Yeah.
for those that invest in Bitcoin. I know this is not financial advice. Always speak to your financial advisor, but Bitcoin's up. Boy, it's looking good for those that did good Bitcoin investment. Shout out to you guys, man. Y'all up 9%. Not only
I'm,
that,
I'm
but the
going to go
stock
get
market
my
right now.
phone.
Not
I
only
got to
that, but
go
the
check
stock
my
market.
phone.
That ain't that for right now. Even the stock market's up like I think they say 1,300 points. So it's just showing that presidential election make a big impact on the market. So that's why it's so very important to where you put your money in, especially when it comes time to the presidential election. I think we spoke about it before the presidential election actually pretty much happened. We talked about make sure you put your money in the right place so you never know, it might soar up. Depends who may be elected. And as you can see, the person that was elected brought the stock market to the all-time high in a very long time. So a lot of people right now are investing heavy. So guys, if you want the people that are investing heavy right now, congratulations to you. Keep investing. As you can see, everything is in the green. And of course, we want to say that the market always balances itself out. But as of right now, a lot of people are seeing a lot of money. I know a lot of people are excited about it. So kudos to you guys that was doing investment while everything was at its lower peak. Go right ahead, Jordan.
Hopefully, this is a sign that the economy will be good again. Hopefully, but hey, man, it's amazing, yo. Not just Bitcoin, how Ronnie, you got Ethereum's doing good. It's up almost 12% on crypto. Solana is up almost 13%. Dogecoins is up almost 15%. Shiba Inu, which that's my favorite penny stock on crypto, it's up about 7%. And then crypto.com Chronos is up almost about 20%. And the stock markets, oh my God, all the stocks are up, man. And man, hey man, this is what you like to start marketing the crypto for, because days like this or certain days so like this, your pocket gets fatter, and my pockets is just getting fatter, yo. All three of our pockets is getting fatter. Am I wrong, gentlemen?
Yep.
Already. So this is a good thing. This is see, especially around the how the president election can make a big impact on the stock market and the crypto market. And right now it's doing good. Ronnie is correct. It will level out. So maybe tomorrow or the next day, it might should go down again. So I've been saying, like I said, like that's how the stock market crypto is. So I expect it to last maybe till Thursday, and then after that it's gonna go down. So when money that guys can get